Previously on Smokco Sailing, we crossed the Sea of Cortez to San Francisquito and tucked into the Slot, a well-known hurricane hole in Baja. We got our first glimpse of the area, but there was still more to explore. We are Armand and Leah, sailing with our dog Pino aboard Cosmo. We quit our jobs to sail around the world, fixing things, exploring new places, and embracing the beautiful chaos that comes with life at sea. This is Smokco Sailing.
We just took Pino on his little walk. Today we're gonna do a little walk out to that other side that we checked out yesterday. We're gonna leave him behind because it's getting a little warm. And then we're gonna come back and do a day in the life kind of thing of our little projects. I have my project board here. Let's get these small things done today and have a fun time doing it. And what are those? Wearing socks, it's so weird. So there's this really cool like dock here. I don't know who put it. It's super nice. This place like has potential, or at one point was a thing, but now it's like ghost town. But this is a sweet little nice dock. Okay, and we're kind of walking on the airfield now, which I think is an FAA violation, but I think we'll be okay. So please don't report us.
This is kind of wild because there's houses here. Are they abandoned? That's how you know that you've reached a little bit of civilization. There's a starling dish.
Yeah. Let's see if it's on.
After a little exploring, our first guess was that a hurricane had passed through and caused a lot of damage. But it turns out these buildings are remnants of a flying and fishing lodge that operated here decades ago, when that dirt airstrip was a lot more active and small planes would bring in anglers to fish the Sea of Cortez. As shark fishing declined and improved roads and development drew tourists to places like Cabo and Laredo, the lodge slowly faded away, leaving behind quiet reminders of an earlier time in San Francisquito. Another discovery was the small seismic monitoring station. Remote places like this are ideal for detecting earthquakes, and the Sea of Cortez is actually a young ocean basin that's slowly pulling Baja, California away from mainland Mexico. Okay, on another episode of Leah's National Geographic, we see turds, and these don't look like regular turds. I would suspect that there may be cow turds, and then if you look over here, those look like hoof prints. So there might be some cattle in the area. So we might run across a cow. And over there is a gated farm with a cow.
And they're coming closer.
Oh, that's a bull. That is a bull. That's true.
Good thing I'm not wearing red. Oh wait.
That's where the National Geographic adventures will end. If there's a bull coming at us, I don't even know what to do. On a cactus. Oh my god, Armand is coming.
Whoa. Okay, so let's chill out. Don't freak out. Let's walk away. Ram us. Well, that's a first. Okay, that was actually kind of scary. Hell yeah. Oh yes. This is what's up. Caterpillar. There is no other.
Okay, so we're doing another pretty simple project. It is with like a storage managed solution. When we first moved aboard is, of course, you try to maximize all of the space that you have with cabinets and everything underneath the floorboards. You have that's obvious storage space. But then you have space that is kind of along the walls. There's a little bit of a lip. What we ended up doing in the V-berth is we got these nets And essentially this is a cargo net that most people will use for their cars, like if they have like an SUV or a van. But I also have this space in our main cabin, which is right here. Actually, ended up buying a few of these things in different sizes. This is gonna be installed along the wall there. And there's a little bit of a lip, but this is such an unused space. Like, if you make like a storage space, I mean, what else am I gonna really put back there?
So I'm gonna send this in the bottom. This is gonna be my anchor one right here.
Pretty simple. I know everyone's gonna be freaking out that we're drilling. We're not drilling, but screwing into the teak, but it's our boat. We do what we want. You do whatever you want on your boat. Okay, we switched to a different tool.
And with every project, sometimes you discover new projects. Leah, I think we have a small leak here. And you can see, because, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but see on the cheek, that drip?
Yeah. Oh no.
Well, it could be coming from under here. So let's, real quick, let's see if there's any water. I have an idea of what it is. We did it to that side where we removed some screws and rebedded something.
Oh no, there's wires.
I think it's this plate here is wet. We can check it, we'll watch it. Or it could just be condensation from it.
It might just be condensation.
Yeah, you're hoping it's condensation, huh? Just watch it, that's all.
We're not gonna hit the hole, are we?
No. No. And now we have this thing, which basically is like a leak cloth. And it will just hold our stuff so that when we're on a port tack, stuff doesn't end up on that bed, which it's been doing.
So excited.
Here's another simple project, and we'll spare you the full faucet replacement.
But yeah, so this is my new faucet. So we can compare it to the old one, which is up here. It's all rusted and gross stuff. And
It's 25 years old.
yeah, so I'm gonna run the fan here because I dripped a little bit, but other than that, next project. And here's the list. The sink is done. I did that the other day, fixed water. Well, I did quite a bit of chores, so the last thing I'm gonna do right now is clean our underwater lights, partially because I wanna jump in because it's a little warm. Then I'll come back and clean up all my tools, and maybe I'll sharpen knives. I'm not sure, depends how I feel then. It's starting to get towards quitting time, so overall, good day, but let's jump in the water, cool off, and do one more thing.
This is very white sand beach. This is like probably the most white sand beach that I've seen in Mexico. This is not the best way to spend your morning. I don't know what is. Water's incredible. Feels like every single anchorage that we go to, that we pull up to, we're like, this is the most beautiful place that we've been to. And then we come to another place and it's kind of like the same thing over again. We're like, this is the most beautiful place that we've been to. And I think it still kind of amazes me that so many people just bypass the Sea of Cortez. It's full of wildlife. It feels like it's almost unexplored. A lot of the sailors will be like, well, you know, you can't find anchorages and places that are left unexplored. And I think Sea of Cortez is probably going to be the only place where you'll end up at anchorages that there's no one else here, or maybe you're sharing it with a couple other boats. Now the great dilemma is, do we stay here and keep enjoying this, or do we go and explore more? But we don't have a timeline for being in the Sea of Cortez, so I don't know. Might end up staying here for a bit longer.
On Cosmo, there's always a balance, whether we plan it or not. The day started with a calm beach walk, and Armand was ready to snorkel. And then Cosmo had other plans for us.
Okay, I have my headlamp on, which means something went weird in the middle of the night. I don't know why, but I'm getting a ton of different battery voltages, a bunch of different battery voltages from our panels. They talk to each other via VE smart networking. I shut them all off, and now the multi-plus won't even turn on, so Something's going on here. Nothing's damaged. I think it's just like something got tripped. I did do some firmware updates, and people did say that this firmware is bad. Let's see if there's anything going on here and if I can fix it. So this isn't turning on.
That switch controls the multiplus, which essentially turns battery power into household power, charges the batteries, and automatically switches between the two. A simple explanation for a very complex but essential piece of equipment.
So there's a reset switch back here. That doesn't do anything, so let's go with the multiplus itself and see. I'm gonna start basically from the batteries backwards here. I have no idea what this could be. So this is off, but it's not turning on. Why the hell not? So now I have no inverter and I don't know why. This is probably what's gonna take all day. So now we'll start the multiplus. All of my solar panels are disconnected, so nothing's coming through. Start there, and we'll look for bad connections at my inverter. What a pain. And to get to my inverter, just right here, I need to remove my starter battery. So let's remove our starter battery. I just turned on the panels. Whoa, 99.7%. What's going on here? See, this is all messed up. See, low battery. Why does it say that? I'm just getting awful readings. That doesn't make any sense. Let's look at the app and see. Arch is showing 15 volts. That's not right. Bimini 14, 14, 13, but I get low battery. It's all over the place. I don't really like the Arch right now, so I'm going to disconnect everybody. I'm actually going to do this in reverse. I'm going to start the solar panels and go to the battery. I have these quick disconnects. Okay, so now nobody's on. That's weird that that doesn't turn on. Why wouldn't that turn on? So that turns on when the panels are live. They're not live right now. It doesn't turn on when the panels are disconnected. Alright, let's start up here. Let's start in the sun and we'll start the solar panels. The solar panels are always generating power when it's sunshine out. We have to cover them so that we're not dealing with live wires. So if we disconnect something, we don't get a voltage arch, yeah, anything like that.
And our boat blows up.
Let's cover the solar arch. Okay, these look pretty well covered. I can't even check to see if there's voltage coming through, so. Okay, and now we can see that our arch has no voltage coming in. And what's interesting is it's showing a battery voltage of 0.01. It shouldn't read anything but what the battery voltage actually is. So there's something going on there. Like whether or not there's sun up or sun down, the MPPT should read the same voltage for the batteries, right? It's kind of irrelevant. So I feel like there's a little bit of... Okay, so right off the bat, I see a bad connection right here. This got jostled at one point. Let's keep looking. These all look fine. So that'd be sweet if it was just this. This is a fuse. Let's see if this fuse still works.
So how do you test these?
Well, all a fuse does is stops a current. So we're gonna send a current through with a multimeter. It's no big deal.
Duh. That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna get my multimeter out.
This and make a sound. It's conductive. Okay, so the fuse is good, but this was wonky. So I'll just replace that. Now we have a nice looking fuse. Let's reattach this. Let's see if that did anything. That's the list of things I should buy when I'm back in civilization is more of these fuses, because if a solar fuse goes, I don't have another one. Everything's connected nice. Alright, let's remove these covers. Battery voltage is dropping. Nope. Fuck, it's going back up. Yeah, see, my battery's way too high. Okay, that tells me something in the MPPT is crossed, but I don't think it was anything to do with that solar arch, because I reset the panels and I'm seeing better voltage readings. So it's closer. I created a new VE network, maybe that helps, but I'm gonna disconnect the batteries from everything and just do a hard reset. Okay, everything's off. 15, Not using any amperage. Getting closer. Oh, my inverter. See, it goes right away to low battery. What if it's the multi-control? I'm gonna disconnect the multi-control from the multi-plus. But then I don't see the low battery. I have to get to the multi-plus. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so I've been in here for a couple hours now. I'm getting more and more acquainted with all these wires. I've been labeling them. But one thing I realized was this trigger, or this circuit breaker, was really stiff when I wanted to turn it. I unscrewed it and pulled on it, and the whole entire thing just came out. So I don't know if that's supposed to happen. Doesn't look like it. If I touch those two together, those are my two positives. That's essentially what this circuit breaker is doing. So maybe this thing's faulty. I mean, it pulled out. That looks fried, doesn't it? I think so. So, because the reason why is this is my feed to my inverter. Yeah. All right, Leah. This is a switch, okay, that cuts power off to our inverter in case of emergencies. Does that look burned to you?
Yes.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is you're gonna shut off the house batteries. I'm gonna connect them together, and then we're gonna turn on the house batteries and see if the inverter works.
Does that mean that our inverter could be burned out?
No, this sacrifices this saves the inverter.
Yeah.
I think this overheated somehow, or maybe it's just bad. I want to get something like this big, and I'll put the two together, and we'll do a test. And if it works, I'll wrap it in electrical tape so it won't go over. And then we'll have to buy one of these. I'm gonna remove this guy. That is a burn. So this thing burned through. Wow. Okay, let's take this off. Wow. Whoa. So you're gonna go by that start switch and you're gonna turn it on, but just 1 second. Let me do something. One moment. Okay, so when you turn it on, be ready to shut it off if I scream, okay? Okay, so go right ahead. Did the freezer start? Okay, disconnect it. I have an idea. These are AC loads, which means things that use the inverter.
Yeah.
Okay. DC was fine, that's why DC wasn't giving us any troubles. This was burned into the wall. I don't think it should be like that. What I think happened was, over time, when you have resistance, the voltage is like, get through. And as resistance builds, it's like holding a hose, like it gets more pressure. So sometimes you're still getting voltage. But I think that's why when I was doing a big demand, like the tea kettle, it was pulling from the battery, and over time this was blocking it. This is an on-off switch, which I think I have another, but worse, this is a $30 thing. But it's fried, yeah. So our test now is to do something with high pull and make sure we don't go into low voltage. Because basically this thing was sensing, like it's pulling, but it's like, I'm not getting any voltage because it's blocked down there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'll start this morning when I was cooking with the tea kettle. I was getting a low battery sensor, which makes no sense because we don't have low voltage. What's happening was the machine was like, I'm getting low voltage, even though your batteries are good. So it's like a disconnect between the two. Panels also go through that whole channel. That's why they were reading like crazy voltages, like 16 at one point. I was like, weird. So now we do kettle, and we see if it doesn't go into low battery mode. Plug the kettle in, and let's hope to God that low battery doesn't go on. Let's see. Can you turn on my espresso machine? Because that pulls more. Yeah, it wasn't even getting that. And now I'm getting the negative 150. Okay, we're back in business. Oh my God. So I'm 12.89. Yeah, that's a little low, but that's because this thing's heating up. So now can you shut it off? That should bounce back up to 30. It already did. So now I just gotta reconnect the panels. Because right now that's as if it was nighttime because all the panels are off. So remember the other day I was telling you I felt like we were getting really small charge?
Yeah.
I think that's why. Even you said it. You were like, I feel like we're getting smaller charge.
I was out there scrubbing the panels. I was like, maybe they're just really dirty, so I was out there cleaning them, which actually does help.
Yeah.
You need to, don't forget, if you have solar panels, you have to clean your solar panels because dust will make them function less good.
Well, that project is all over now. Wasn't really planning on doing that today. And sometimes the projects choose you. So yeah, it literally took all day. Finally get my coffee, so successful day. I learned a lot today, and I found a wire that isn't connected to anything. So I gotta see what that is, but I'll save that for later. Right now, everything's working great. Not getting any alarms, so life is good, and we'll check it when the sun goes down. Hopefully, we're still smiling and get a full night's rest.
If you stuck around through all the battery and inverter talk, kudos to you. And if you actually understood it, even more impressive. If it didn't all make sense, don't worry. It took us a few years to figure this stuff out. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. And we'll see you next time on Smokco Sailing.